just becoming popular, except for one problem. The cold winter air would make it hard and inflexible, and in the summer it became a sticky, gooey mess. One man would change all that. His wife's kitchen became a laboratory. His family possessions were pawned, and without any sort of chemical training or education, he struggled through dozens, hundreds, and eventually thousands of chemical experiments. All of this to make rubber useful. Most of us would consider such an endeavor a silly waste of time. But for this man, it was a journey of faith. He felt like he was on a mission from God to solve the mysterious melting rubber problem. And eventually, he did. He discovered the formula to galvanize rubber and make it a useful resource to the entire world. Charles Goodyear was the name of this passionate Christ follower. His name is familiar today because it is stamped on millions of tires, and the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company is the largest in the world. But Charles Goodyear never got rich from his little discovery. He actually lived on the edge of financial ruin until his death in 1860. 4 decades later, Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company was founded by people who weren't even related to him. But the impact of this one man's discovery can be seen everywhere. Here's a man that followed God and followed his passion, not for personal glory, but because of faith. The truth is that God calls people to unusual tasks, whether it's building an ark, breaking down a wall, retrieving a donkey, or discovering new things. God calls you to live on the cusp for Him. Whatever your passion, God wants to use it and you to glorify Him.
Amen. Welcome to church today. Wasn't that good? I don't know. I thought it was. I was worshiping though. Today we're talking about graduates, obviously, and today as I talk, it's not just for the graduates, it's for you as well. But I think what I'm going to talk about today is something real important for young people. If you can get this, if you can grasp it, if you can not just get it, because I think all of you, especially the graduates here today, you all get it, you all grasp what I'm going to say. The question is, will you put it into action? Will you put it into motion? Will you make it part of who you are, or will you just sort of say it's part of who you are? And last year, I was almost tempted just to preach it again because it's so good. But last year, I don't know if anybody remembers what I talked about. But I talked about the greatest question ever. Anybody remember what that question is? Do you remember the greatest question ever? It's the question that you can ask yourself in any situation, and it makes those hard life questions easy to answer. It's the question that when there's gray areas in life and you're not sure which way you should do or what decision you should make, it's a question you can ask yourself, and it makes things really clear. And the question was, what is the wise thing to do? And I encouraged our young people, and we stayed on it for a couple more weeks after that, talking more in depth about it. But what is the wise thing to do? And it's an easy question because it makes the gray areas go away. For college kids, going to school, a hard question might be, well, does it matter where I go to school? Well, no, not really. In the worldly sense, you can choose any school you want to go. But what is the wise school God's calling me to? What's the wise decision to make in terms of where I want to be in life? Harder questions, more like, on my 21st birthday, should I go out and drink? It's legal, so it's not wrong. The question isn't, is it right or is it wrong? The question is it wise? Is it wise to go and get drunk on your 21st birthday? Well, when you ask it that way, it's a little more clear, a little easier to do. Should I go out with this boy or girl? Well, technically there's nothing wrong with dating certain people and others. But when you ask, is it wise for me to date this person who I know their lifestyle, I know where they're from, I know what they believe in, is it wise for me to date them or not? And you see how that question just sort of makes things clearer. If you know what I'm saying here, that's a question that go with you the rest of your life. Every decision you make, not just is it right, is it wrong, is it the wise thing to do? Because God calls us to be wise, not foolish. Throughout the Bible, it talks about being wise versus a foolish man. A wise man listens to other people's advice. A wise man is slow to speak. All these different things. A foolish man goes out and does all these dumb things and gets himself in trouble and those around him in trouble. God has called us to be wise. And going off of that this year, I want to talk about something a little bit different. This is the one thing that determines your direction in life. It determines your level of happiness. It determines whether you want to get out of bed every day. If you have a hard time getting out of bed every day, you just don't want to start the day, then you're probably lacking in this area. But for this year, I want our graduates to be encouraged to do one thing. And it's the one thing Satan wants to steal from us. It's the one thing the world wants to diminish and distract us from. And it's the one thing God designed us to have. And I think it's found all throughout Romans chapter 12. And if you have your Bible, you can turn there. And yes, yes, the first part that you're going to realize and remember right away, but the rest of it is where a lot of this comes from. And in Romans chapter 12, we're going to read a lot of it. It says this, verse 1, Romans 12, verse 1. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, Christians, I urge you, church, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. For by grace given to me, I say to every one of you, do not think yourself more highly than you ought. Don't be prideful. But rather think of yourself with sober judgment, in accordance with the faith God has distributed to each of you. For just as each of you has one body with many members, and these members do not all have the same function, so in Christ we, though many, form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. We have different gifts according to the grace given to each of us. If your gift is prophesying, then prophesy in accordance with your faith. If it is serving, then serve. If it is teaching, then teach. If it is to encourage, then give encouragement. If it is giving, then give generously. If it is to lead, do it diligently. If it is to show mercy, do it cheerfully. Love must be sincere. Hate what is evil. Cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with the Lord's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Mourn with those who mourn. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. Do not be conceited. Throughout that whole, and I know there's a lot of it, throughout that whole thing, the thing God's been talking to me about in the last few weeks leading up to this is about our passion. Our passion for Him. You see a glimpse of it during worship sometimes when people are into it. I mean, they're passionate about worshiping God. They're passionate about lifting up the name of the Lord. And it's the one thing that determines your life path more than anything. What are your passions? And what order are they in your life, in your priority list? And the world wants to give you a million passions. They got a million passions for you to fall into. They have a million things they want you to give your money to, your time to, your thoughts to. But is it really worth it? And what are the things God's called us to be passionate about? There's a couple things in these verses I see that I think God calls us to be passionate about. And we need to be people of passion. Have you ever been around somebody that doesn't have any passion anymore for life? They're just sort of like, sometimes you think about, we go to the Spring Meadows nursing home like once a month and we play bingo over there and with the teens. And we actually have a great time. The kids actually sort of like it. I mean, they show up and they don't have to. So I'm assuming it's all right. We go and play bingo and some of the ladies there, I mean, they have no joy. They have no hope for tomorrow. And you can sort of understand why. But I think then you see people like Rosette, who's a member of our church, who's over there, who does have joy for life. Who does still have passion at 80-some years old, maybe 90, I'm not sure. She's up there. But she has a passion for life still, a passion for God. And God has called us to be people of passion. People don't want to be around people who have no passion, no zeal for life. I love that verse. Never be lacking zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, keep your spiritual flavor, serving the Lord. That's what attracts people. Have you ever been around somebody with passion for something? This week, it was really funny because I'm thinking about this thing all week. And I had lunch with Brock Robenstein. And Brock's one of our kids who graduated from here. He's traveled, he'll live in a van for a few weeks and he'll sleep on people's couches across the nation as he travels and he does all this stuff. And he has a passion just for being around people and going hiking and biking and just being out there. And I was just listening to him share. We were just talking about some of his experiences. And he has so much passion about it. I don't like biking. I bike a little bit. But my bike sits in the garage until once every 3 years I have to go ride it for something. It just hangs on the wall, and that's where it stays. But after talking to him, I want to go ride my bike. Like, I want to go out and do some of the stuff. I want to go out and backpack a little bit. I've never actually done that. I've gone out with a journal, but that's sort of preppy, I guess you'd say. Taking a journal into the woods and hiking along and riding in the woods. It's, what they tell you to do in college. Waste of time. But, actually getting the whole backpack and walking through the wilderness and just going wherever. I'm too type A. I got to have a plan. I got to know where we're going, what time we're going to get there, when we're going to eat lunch, what we're going to eat for lunch, all that stuff. But listen to him made me want to go do that. Because being around people with passion is contagious. It rubs off on us. It's awesome. And God calls his people to have the most passion. We are called to be transformed, become something totally new that the world's not even used to seeing. It's so attractive, it's so different. People are drawn to it. So today, that's the thing I want our graduates to remember. Have passion in life. When you lose passion for life, life's over. Passion is the only thing in life that's worth living for. And I think there's 4 things God calls us to have passion for. Number 1, and passion, if you don't know, it's defined as an intense desire. Intense. Okay, you hear intense a lot when you're talking about skydiving and extreme sports. It's intense. Passion is an intense desire for something. And I believe God's called us, number 1, to have an intense desire, a passion for God. Obviously, number 1. We see that in verse 1. Be a living sacrifice. Be transformed. This is your act of worship. If you want to know what God's will is, do this. Have passion, intense desire for God. And he'll transform your life. He'll show you his will. You'll know where you're going. You'll know what your plan is. You'll just know where God's sending you and what he's doing in your life. It's an amazing thing. And I know a lot of people don't understand it, but I understand it very clear. And it's phenomenal. My wife and I, we know when God has called us to do something. And although it's scary and you look at it and you don't understand everything, when you both know it, it's so peaceful and exciting that you wouldn't trade it for anything. He's called us to be passionate for him. I have a passion for golf and basketball. I think you know that. I've used them both on stage. I play basketball about twice a week. I play golf about once every week and a half, maybe a week. She's like, look at me weird, every week. If it's sunny. But of course here, I got to play every week the 4 months it's warm, because then I got 8 months where I can't play at all. So I have a passion for that. And it takes up my time, takes up some of my money, takes up some of my thoughts. I think about it later that night. I'm like, man, why did I hit that shot number 5? That was so stupid. Man, how'd you miss that putt? That birdie putt 2 feet and you missed it. And we think about it. And the funny thing is it rubs off. It's contagious. Stephen Hawk over here, good athlete, horrible golfer. But we've talked about it a lot, and he started going golfing with me. Last week, what does he do? He buys a set of clubs off Craigslist and brings out his clubs so he doesn't have to use mine, which I'm very glad about because I got new clubs this year and I don't want him messing them all up. So I kept sending hints like, dude, you gotta get your own clubs, man. But my passion sort of rubbed off on him, and now he's like, I'll put it on Facebook or I'll call some people. Anybody want to go golfing? Nobody responds. Steve's like, I'll go. And we go, and he shoots, 130, and we have a great time. And he's starting to get a passion for it. And I'm not taking all the credit. I mean, I'm sure he's probably hit golf balls before, but, I talked about it a lot. I love to go golfing. And he plays basketball with me sometimes. He's gone to the gym with me and played. And golf he wanted to try, and he went. Now he's starting to get a little bit of passion. Is that a good thing? Probably not. Probably should be encouraging his passions in other areas of life, not a frustrating game that makes you want to cuss. But you see how passion rubs off. It's contagious. And the number thing we have to have passion for is our God. I love going to the Catalyst conference with our college kids back in January. We went down to Atlanta. If you don't know what Passion Conference is, get online, check it out. It's awesome. Louis Giglio started it years ago. Now it's a huge movement. They go all over the world. It's amazing. They brought, the stadium was packed, so there's over 10,000 people in there. Then they had another stadium they were using, the World Congress Center next door, where they had put another 8,000 people. And it was just phenomenal. And you see when you get there, the passion these college kids, it's for college kids, have for the Lord. Their worship. They're just giving everything they have in their worship. They're crying out to the Lord. They're asking God to renew their passion, to make it even bigger. And it rubs off. It's just like, man, I just want to be there. I want to be part of that passion. I want to go back. They call it passion. It's phenomenal. To see 10,000 people just worshiping God with all their hearts and souls and minds. That's what being passionate about God looks like. And man, I'd go back there in a heartbeat, and I know the guys who went with us would go back in a heartbeat, because there's something great about having passion for God. It's worth it. It's worth not going golfing that week. You know, I was in Atlanta and didn't get to golf. It was warm in the middle of January. I was in Atlanta, I lived here, and I didn't even get to golf. But you know what? I never missed that once, because being in a passionate place with God was worth it. It was awesome. David had a passion for God. He writes in Psalm 73:25, "Whom have I in heaven but thee? And there is none upon earth that I desire beside thee." Meaning, I love you, Lord. Nothing on this earth, nobody on this earth, I'm more crazy about or in love with. Psalm 42:1-2, David says again, "As a deer pants for streams of water, so my soul pants for you, O God. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. When can I go and meet with God?" It almost sounds like he's writing about a girl, right? Because we see that. We understand passion in terms of a relationship of a guy and a girl. We see that. We understand that. And when you read that, if you don't put God in there, it sort of sounds like he's writing to a woman, right? You know, a college kid writing to his girlfriend, "When can I be with you? I can't wait to see you again." Every high schooler sees it every day before class when the two people are outside class, like, "I miss you. I'm going to miss you for 45 minutes. I can't stand to be away from you." They're crying because they have passion. Sometimes we need some of that passion for our God, who is so much bigger and better and more important. God calls us to have that kind of passion for Him. And I know for some of us, we're like, how do you get that? How do you get that passion? What do we do? We're going to talk about that. But can you imagine what He's saying? Can you sense it? But because our passion is so contagious, when we have passion, we have to make sure it's for the right thing. And we need to have passion and intense desire for what is good. Number 2, a passion for what is good. Verse 2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world," meaning think differently. Verse 9 says, "Hate what is evil, cling to what is good." We have to change our mindset. It's okay to have some passions in life. It's okay to be passionate about things that really in the scheme of things don't matter, like golf or basketball or whatever hobby or thing you love to do. But make sure it's for what is good. Our world is controlled by passion for the wrong things. College grads, high school grads, college grads, young people, adults, everyone. Your friends and even some of your family members will try to get you to be passionate about things you don't need to be passionate about. And we need to be focused on what is good. Being passionate about what is good that God has called us to be passionate about. And no one forces you, but so many people we hear blaming others for getting them addicted or getting them started. Or they made me do it, or they... No, they had a passion for something, you got sucked into it. And you start believing that if you did what they did, you'd have that same excitement or that same thrill. And God says, be careful. Hate what is evil. Love and hold on to what is good. Be passionate about things that are good. Be passionate about things of God. Be passionate for the good stuff. What does God love the most, though? He loves people. So number 3, we got to have a passion for the goodest thing of all, and that's people. A passion, intense desire for people, for relationships with people. Verse 13-15 says this, "Share